This is a short video on how the combat knife functions in terms of its damage profile and also a general guide on how it is best used. The combat knife is a melee weapon that was available to only the Vanguard and the Sniper. It was recently added to the Tactical in patch 7.0. It is commonly perceived as a weapon with limited use outside of dueling. Despite the fact that the knife indeed excels at single combat, to dismiss its capability when it comes to halting a horde of enemies would simply be wrong. The knife is very unique in that, unlike the other weapons, tapping the melee button will always continue the current type of attack. Subsequently, tapping the melee button will cause you to change your current type of attack indefinitely. For instance, we start off with a heavy swing, or a heavy melee swing. Tapping the melee button will cause my character to continuously use heavy attacks. We'll refer to this mechanic as tap chaining. If we then held down the melee attack, I will suddenly switch over to a light attack. This mechanic will be referred to as heavy switching. These mechanics make the weapon extremely unintuitive to use, but also gives us opportunity for some combo optimization. Our goal here is not to necessarily memorize how every attack can be chained together, but to learn some practical combos for the two of the most important situations, dueling and horde clear. Let's get started. We first start with the light combo, which consists of 4 attacks. The light combo is fairly straightforward, but we do want to know that this combo won't be all you do, as while it is fast, it is not optimal in terms of damage. There are up to 4 heavy attacks you have access to, depending on whether you have Shadow Stab or not. These are Heavy Swing, Right Skull Crusher, Left Skull Crusher, and Whirlwind Slash. The heavy attacks are relatively slow, but they are a significant source of cleave and damage. We will put a lot of emphasis into mixing these into your combo. We will talk about the special attacks unlocked via perks in a different section. The default sprint attack is called Distance Stab, which is a 2-part stab attack. This attack can be a bit finicky to use without lock-on, and despite having a high cleave, the narrow hitbox limits how many targets you can actually hit. Finally, there's a quirky little attack exclusive to the knife, which is a stab that follows a fall attack. We won't talk about it at all, but it exists only on the knife and has a very limited role in the game. Because of the heavy switching property of the knife, there are a vast amount of infinitely looping combo that exist. For the sake of brevity, I'll be talking about a few combo that I think are practical and, more importantly, easy to learn. You're encouraged to try to come up with your own. For dueling, my most consistent combo is light, heavy, light, heavy, heavy, light, heavy, and loop. This combo should be the first combo you learn because it is the fastest to chain while having optimized damage. The reason why this combo is preferred to me is because 1. This combo will work whether you have Shadow Stab or not. 2. This combo is faster than starting with Heavy Fist, which also does the same damage as Light 1. Heavy Fist does have more cleave and stagger, but we favor speed in this case. 3. The damage is optimized, and 4. It works in a horde situation as well. Let's break down this combo. Light, Right Skull Crusher, Left Skull Crusher, Light 4, Right Skull Crusher, Left Skull Crusher, Light 4, and loops. For horde, there are several ways you can loop your combo. In fact, it is perfectly fine to use the previous combo to loop, though you will have 2 attacks that are suboptimal for this case, namely the light attacks. A big part of the horde clear infinite combo is centered around looping back into Right Skull Crusher, as this attack will always be followed by Left Skull Crusher and Whirlwind Slash when tap chaining. This first combo is if you do not have Shadow Stab. Heavy, light, 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 and then just loop light. The attacks are Heavy Swing, Left Skull Crusher, Whirlwind Slash, Right Skull Crusher, and loops back to Left Skull Crusher. This is a very easy combo to perform, though be aware when using Whirlwind Slash your character is locked out of dodging, which makes mixed horde a little more dangerous. If you have Shadow Stab, then you simply make do with using the first slide before you can begin looping your Skull Crusher. The combo is then light, heavy, light, ad infinitum. Be mindful that you still do not want to be in the middle of a horde spamming heavies. Be smart about when to parry. If you want to systematically learn what a combo will look like, check out the Fandom Wiki page. Shadow Stab replaces Heavy Swing with a charging attack. This attack has 2 stages of charge, with each instance increasing the damage multiplier by 4. Without charges, this is 2 times the base damage. 1 charge brings this to 6 times damage, and fully charged is 10 times more damage. You have definitely seen the sniper melee build utilizing this attack with tremendous results. You might have also seen the Auspex Shadow Stab, which is arguably just as powerful. For the Vanguard, this isn't as useful since he doesn't really have ways to capitalize on this big damage, what with the lack of perks increasing the attack damage drastically or having a cloak. Shoulder Bash replaces the awkward sprint attack with a double tackle that both does more damage and is more responsive. I don't personally run this perk this often, but this is a very strong attack with a lot more damage and cleave than the default sprint attack. If you're using the knife on the Vanguard or you find distance stab too unwieldy, consider this perk. The knife is yet another very interesting and complex weapon. To be honest with you all, I didn't really understand the whole tap chaining and heavy switching mechanics either until I started reviewing the combo I've been using all this time. That said, the knife definitely requires more knowledge and practice to do well with compared to the chainsword, and that's without mentioning full throttle cancel. It is far more complex and requires a lot of experience and knowledge to perform well in a given situation. Still, it is by no means just a parry stick that I see so many players tend to use it as. Try the knife, experiment with its combos, and have fun. Hope you learned something today. See you next time.